What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Fossett, and today we're checking out a great hand-wired JTM style amplifier from Discordia Audio. Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in to this demo and review, not only of this amplifier, but really of the company altogether. This is Discordia Audio. They are a local company to me here in southern Maine, although they're lying because it says Portland, Maine. I know for a fact he's not in Portland. He's in Cape Elizabeth. So there's that. Regardless, this company is one man, and he does clones of boutique amplifiers and pedals, and he's doing them at very, very reasonable prices. He does great work. He's a friend of mine for several years now, and we actually met kind of randomly because we were both into buying, selling, and trading used gear, and so our paths crossed a number of times, and I had been looking for someone to repair a pedal for me. I had a Love Pedal Gen 5 Echo, which I still have, and it was a gift from my wife. I want to say it was either for Valentine's Day or our anniversary one year or something, and I loved it, but it burnt out, basically. Something was terribly wrong with it, and there were all kinds of people. I brought it to the local shop, and I brought it to several other people. I even contacted Love Pedal themselves, and a lot of people said, like, no, it needs to be completely rebuilt. It's gone. And I didn't know what to do. I even looked into a couple other people who were regional who built pedals to see, like, okay, could I have someone else basically build me a delay pedal that would fit into the same topography as this one? It was like, it was an anniversary gift, and I didn't want to just like throw it away, but I didn't know what to do. So sure enough, I knew, again, through just kind of casually meeting him a few times, that he did repair work, and asked him to do it. And he said, oh yeah, no problem. And he fixed it. And that was it. And it works great. It still works great. And it sounds better than ever. Now, after that, I've had him do work on a bunch of different amplifiers, and he's really gone above and beyond, diagnosing problems before they happen. Somebody who really knows their stuff, and very, very in-depth knowledge of circuitry, tube amps, what to look for if something's wrong. He brought my Fender Bassman back to life after it had been kind of on the fritz for a while. And he puts that same kind of dedication into his builds. Now, we are demoing this one. This is a JTM style amp with some modifications. However, he does all kinds of things. I know he's done a Champ clone. He's done a deluxe reverb. In fact, at his shop, I played through his deluxe reverb before he sold it, and it sounded really good. I know he's made a vibroverb and just a whole slew of others. He's always kind of working on different amplifiers and building different effects and things. Sometimes he builds effects just for himself if it's one that he wants, and the expensive ones out there aren't necessarily worth getting as much as some of the components that it takes to build them. So About this amplifier, this is a JTM style amplifier. The idea of it is to get the power amp distortion at a more reasonable level. Now, it is still a very loud amp. This is like a gigging amp. This will get pretty raucously loud, but it's not like cranking an old plexi. This actually gets, relatively speaking, this gets the actual power amp distortion at a more usable volume. This is one you could actually get power amp distortion at a gig with. Now, one of the notable things that he changed in this one is that this circuit typically was a tremolo circuit, and he swapped it out for also having a master volume channel with treble, mid, and bass controls. Now, that is what you heard at the beginning with it cranked and everything, but you notice the master volume was pretty low. It was still fairly loud at that point, but it sounds natural. It doesn't sound, not all master volumes are created alike. There's some master volumes that sound great, and there's some master volumes that don't sound great. I think this one sounds great. And we're going to revisit this channel again coming up. But it also has a dedicated classic channel with a volume and a tone knob and 2 separate inputs. What's cool about this is just that it gives you a lot of usable classic Marshall JTM tone, again, at levels that are actually reasonably controllable, something that you can actually use in a real life setting. So let's dive back in with some tone on this particular amplifier right now. I'm in the master volume channel still. You just heard it with the Les Paul. Now I'm going to hit it with a Stratocaster. You're still going to hear it with the gain all the way up. And then I'm going to dial the gain back, the volume back, turn the master volume up to give you a clean sound. And with it clean, I'm going to hit it with a True-Fi Sammy Fuzz so you can hear how it takes fuzz. That's obviously one of the classic pairings. And hey, just for fun, True-Fi also happens to be a local company. In fact, True-Fi is in the town where my grandmother lived and my father grew up. Let's have a listen. right, now we're going to go back with the Les Paul, and with the Les Paul, we're going to switch over to the classic channel that has volume, tone, and 2 different inputs. Now, at a more modest level, you'll still hear it. It gets an edge of breakup sound pretty early, but in a very, very smooth and kind of musical way. It also takes pedals beautifully. All right, so we're going to play it at a lower level, kind of an edge of breakup level, and show you what it sounds like with both of the inputs. Then I'm going to hit it with an overdrive pedal, and for that I'm going to be using the Vic Audio Mount Pleasant, which is a blues breaker. Believe it or not, I plugged a blues breaker overdrive into a Marshall JTM style amp, and I did not tear a hole in the space-time continuum. I promise it's going to be okay. So we're going to try that out, and then we're going to absolutely crank this classic channel. This is no master volume. This is this amp in all of its glory turned all the way up. So let's have a listen to all those tones. All right, everyone. So this is not a sponsored review again, Mike's a friend of mine. He asked me if I would do this. He's done repairs for me and things. He's always given me a great deal on stuff, and we've sold to each other, we've bought from each other, and everything. So, but there was no exchange for this video. I'm really just interested in kind of helping him spread the word for his business. I've told him for years that hey, if he wanted to get something for me to do a review of, to share it with people, that I would. Again, he builds custom amps to order. So if you're interested in getting an amplifier that's, you want something hand wired, a little bit more dedicated, but you're not interested in spending some of the ridiculous prices that some people are asking or some of the big companies want, check out Discordia Audio. Also does repairs if you're local. He even does guitar setups, and he does custom pedals as well. I'm going to link to his website below. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.